because I am a passionate person. I understood the what and why, I understood the who. But people who want to become intern to APM, or freshers to becoming product interns, or freshers to becoming APM, investing in a course is obviously the right path, but not from the start itself.
Hey guys, hey, what is up? Hi everyone. Welcome to the Design Head podcast again. And today we have a very special guest with us, and I'm gonna introduce her in a bit. And I'm just gonna welcome you all guys here to this podcast, and thank you all for supporting us. Today we have a very special guest. So you know that we have been doing a lot of designers, a lot of artists recently on the podcast, but uh, a lot of folks have been asking me about like to get more engineers, get more PMs, to get a broader scope of understanding in the space. And I think that really makes sense. So today we have a product manager with us, and Riya, who is from Blue Lawn, and we're gonna get her on board. Hey Riya, what is up? How's everything going?
Hey, everything is going really good, and I'm so glad that I get to give the product designers a view of how product managers work and how they get into product management. And I hope I make your listeners happy.
For sure. I think the insights are going to be super, super great. So let's just start with a bit of your introduction for the audience out there, and
Mhm.
then we take it forward.
Cool. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I'm Riya Jain, who is now a product manager at Blue Learn. Before this, I was an assistant APM and a PM at Frontrow, and I graduated this year itself. So it's been a very fast-paced journey into product. But while it's been fast-paced, it's also been very detail-oriented. Though it's been fast-paced, it doesn't mean that I've skipped a lot of steps or just jumped a few hurdles. And we'll talk about it, but I will also talk about how, even though it was fast-paced, I made sure I covered my endings with doing courses, doing extracurricular activities, or even networking with a lot of people that helped me fill my holes. Because if you are getting into any job at a very young age, it's going to be very fast paced and very haywire initially, and it'll take time for you to make place. And product management is very like that, because there are times you are managing people without having direct control over them, and that is something that you learn with time, I feel.
Makes sense. And I think definitely as we get more and more deep into it, we'll talk about a lot of those topics. But I just really want to start from the really basics. That is, how did you exactly got into product? But what made you curious? What was that journey?
There were a lot of parts that made me curious, and they kept getting me into understanding. The first time I ever heard about product management was a friend of mine who got a product internship. Like, that's how you hear. But then I saw her work, it seemed interesting, but that was the first time I heard of it. Then eventually I started my own podcast called College Planners, where I interviewed college entrepreneurs. And during those interviews, I realized that the products that they were building and how they were building and the user problems they were solving really excited me. So that was another glimpse of me where I was like, oh, I like solving user problems with products. Uh, Next, I was also doing a web development internship.
Hmm.
At one point of time, I did a 5 month development internship. During that internship, also, I realized that coding is not for me. So generally, people say to figure out what is for you, you need to figure out what is not for you, because the what is not for you will be very little, and what is for you is a very open space. So that made me figure out that this is not for me. Then I went into marketing. I realized marketing is not for me because I don't just like one-sided conversations with everything. So as a marketing, you're just on one front. That is the outside, not the inside and internals. And I realized, no, I don't like that either. So I feel eventually in getting into a lot of things, like I went into marketing, development, social media. With all these fronts, I kept on realizing what's not for me, and that eventually got me into product management is for me. But I feel what really played an important part was getting to know about product very early. Like, my friend, a senior, got a product internship role when I was 19. So I heard the term product intern for the first time at 19. Then I did these qualifiers interviews between my when I was 19 to 21, and that also really helped me figure out, okay, I like this part. Then after speaking to a lot of people and telling them what I like and what I enjoy, they suggested that try product, explore it, maybe it'll work for you. And my first ever product internship, I was not sure that product is what I'm going to be, and product manager is where I want to head to. And but the first ever product internship I did, I was able to do it for 6 months. Generally, if you don't like something, you probably cannot do it for 6 months. So that's when I figured that, you know what, I'm enjoying this. It's very different. It's easy. But yeah, I feel those three instances of, figuring it out and definitely talking to people helped. Like talking to people and figure out what's not for me, what's for me was a good uh, entry into product.
Makes sense. And I think that really helps people understand that exploring different fields is an important part to kind of understand what is really your
Yeah.
calling. And it's important. And I also know that we discussed like you I think you did some radio jockey for a while. was
Yeah.
it was it just a part of exploring things, or did
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Back then, it looked like it is just a part of exploring things. In college, I was, you could literally name anything. I was in the football team. I was in the dramatics club. I was a radio jockey. I was into the design for Hindi. There was a club called Goonj, जो हिंदी कविताएं लिखता था, उनकी design team में. Then I was in the entrepreneurship club. I was in the entrepreneurship cell. I was into too many things. So basically, कभी भी कोई interview का board लगता था that there's an interview happening for radio jockeys, there's an interview happening for this, I would just go
Mhm.
because I, I was not awesome at anything until college. So if people ask me what do you want to do, I would say I don't know. But if people are, do you want to do this, I would say sure. So when someone like there was a radio jockey, I was like, oh, this sounds very interesting because I love to talk and looks like radio jockeys just talking. I didn't even have like details. So I went for it and they made me like they said this is a topic, talk for 10 minutes. I did it and I was like, cool, this is looks good. So I did work as a radio jockey in Manipal for a while, and that was really nice because I feel uh, while doing that, I realized if you're passionate and if you're really good at something, and if you can inculcate that into your daily job, even small part of it, you're gonna love it. So for radio jockey, did I like that controlling the knobs and everything on that? No. Did I like choosing the songs? Not really. But I like to talk. And even if though that was a small part of being a radio jockey, I hated editing the shows also. Sometimes we pre-record and we had to edit and all. Hated that part, but I like to talk. So there was a small part of that that really made me happy and feel eventually like whatever you choose could be design. If you like colors and product design, like just gets you exploring colors, exploring fonts, then wow. Like one part of your job should be really important to you. Also, I think I forgot to mention, I am from Manipal Institute of Technology, the Manipal campus. So that offers like a lot of extracurricular clubs that back in college I felt, oh, this is a normal college, oh, I don't know. I don't really like my college because it gives exams and this.
Yeah.
But now when I look back to it, I feel all the opportunities that it gave, like no matter what college, I know every college gives them, like you need to search for them and just grab them, like.
I think it's super interesting. I think that's like everyone's story. Like even when we are in college, we're just like, what the hell is going on? But when we're out of college, we're like so much we have learned, so much we have grown, we have matured a lot. And I think it makes a lot of sense. But I think one crisp thing that I really liked about your journey is that you being always curious about things. You
Oh
always
yeah.
being open to opportunities, like saying yes to things. For sure, you were not clear about what you really wanted to do, and I think being curious is something is gonna get you to that clarity. If you don't even experience new things, how are you gonna know like what is that clarity you need?
Hmm.
So I think this makes a lot of sense, and that this journey, I think, really want to suggest a lot of people who is watching this, like they should be open to opportunity, they should be open to experiences, and that's how they're gonna define like what's the clarity for them. Makes a lot of sense, and I think let's just deep a little dive into like other pieces, like for sure, like you chose product management, like was there any way that you, or any path that you followed to learn these things, or what would you suggest anyone out there, like how should they start learning in bits and pieces of this?
Um, so this is my personal opinion. Generally, there are too many, way more experienced product managers with better answers for this. But this is a very fresh into product person's opinion, and a very I feel easy yet complete way of getting into product management. So I feel when I was always fluctuating a lot between what I want to do and what I like, which I highlighted earlier. So when I got into my product internship and when I decided I want to get into a product internship, I did not start with investing into a very expensive course or taking up. There are tons of courses, right? So didn't take up any course, but here's where YouTube comes into picture, of course. So I think on YouTube there's this one channel, Product School. I watched literally all the videos that existed back then in a span of 2 months, 60 days. All the videos that existed, like generally, and I would apply to a lot of product internships without knowing anything about product. So let's say they gave me a task phase, write PRD on Instagram's this feature. Then I would Google on product school how to write a PRD, watch that video, write a PRD, submit. Let's just say do user interviews and like do this, do that. Be like, cool. Then I would go to product school, search how to do this. So like I did all my initial 20 task phases with videos of product school. Well, because for me, what helps is hands-on learning. Like I can't learn today and just study for 10 days and start applying 10 days later. Like I learn, apply, then I recall and then I remember stuff. So I just watched a lot of product school videos, got my first internship, and with that, I figured out, oh, I'm really enjoying product. And right now, also, there are instances where, let's say, we are figuring out what problem we want to solve, and we're doing it, and it's happening. Yet, I feel like, what, I want to go back to my basics. This seems like, maybe I'm getting distracted, maybe I'm getting emotional to the problem statement, maybe I am assuming I am the user and not the users. Like, small things that can happen in product, right? And they happen very frequently. Back, like, so when this happens, I prefer going back to product school videos, like not here and there, but like just going back to videos. And I think after realizing with the internship that, what, I'm really liking product and genuinely enjoying it, after that I actually invested into a full-fledged course of product management. And I'm not saying you should not do it. Like back then I said don't do it, but like you should do it, but when you figure out that this is for me. And I feel what the course did is not teach me anything new, but just connected all the dots that were haywire. So
Mhm.
during the internship, I learned a lot of things that were haywire. While watching the videos, I watched them in any flow. Like I watched them with respect to what tasks I got. I watched them with respect to any product management influencer who posted on LinkedIn. Here's how I do this. I'm like, okay, what is this? Let's learn what is this. So everything was very haywire. So I did a course from ISB,
Mhm.
the product management course. I would really recommend it because it connects all the dots. You get a really good network, even though it's an online course. The community is very well knit. There's a WhatsApp community, and everyone's like very close with each other. And there are a lot of projects and assignments that you do. And I feel connecting all the dots together in one line really helped. And it was way different to college assignments because I was passionate towards this. I was sure I want to do this, and I had tried it out before as an intern. So while I was an APM at Frontrow, I did this course while I was an APM at Frontrow, and it really helped me jot down dots. So like I would say investing in a course is obviously the right path, but not from the start itself. Because by then you've not developed your passion. So I don't know if you will have good retention. Like I'm talking in product terms, but you might not have your own retention towards the course that you've invested into. And the product management courses are pretty hefty amounts, I feel. So
Makes sense. And I think for sure, I think once you got into front row and like kind of experience things, you would have experienced like we need the particular course to kind of connect those dots.
yeah.
And that, I think that's important. I really want to get, actually the next question would have been the ISB course only, but I really want to ask a little deep more into the mentorship part of like your learning phase. So
Yeah.
first? Did really mentorship played a good part? I'm assuming yes. But if
Yes.
it did, how how did you would you say for anyone out there they should take mentorship on, and how they should like take those, because I think mentorship is a huge part, like, but how they should really use it and make the best out of it.
Yeah. Um, I would say mentorship until today plays a very, very important role in my life. Right now, I'm in my new job. I've been working at Blue Learn for the last 3, 4 months, and definitely, like, I am still in rough waters of product management. So right now, also there are days when I'm like, am I going in the right direction? Is this what I'm supposed to do? There are tons of people who get like a same message sent on WhatsApp. Hey, so today this happened. I am thinking this. What do you all think? Do you all have better advice? And when I say mentorship, I don't just call my product managers and fellow senior product managers my mentors, but also my fellow designers and my senior product designers, my fellow engineers and my senior engineers, and everyone who is a stakeholder as a product manager for you. So marketing leads of various other companies, they also really help me figure out how my interactions with the marketing stakeholders here have to be, and how their interactions with their product managers are. So I feel mentorship started playing a very important role for me right before I even figured out I want to get into product. Because I was always with such a civil mind. I want to do this, I want to do that. And of course, one of my mentors was my father as well, because I remember telling him that I want to become a radio jockey. That was the first thing I ever did during the lockdown. I told him I want to become a radio jockey, and he said, "You like to talk. This is why you want to become a radio jockey." And that's how I think I got my product management thinking as well. Then let's see, while talking, what other things you can do. And he told me you can start a podcast. Then I started a podcast. Then while I was with my other jobs, right, like when I was working as a web intern, graphics intern, social media intern, I told him, oh, I like this part of my job. And he's like, let me connect you with seniors I know, and let's see with when you someone likes this part of the job, what is right. So a lot of people said consultancy is something you should get into, because it's very similar to product management. So when I spoke to a lot of seniors of my dad's age group, they were like, get into consultancy. Then I was like, cool. Now, after speaking to them, I realized, okay, it's time to go on LinkedIn, meet some Gen Z mentors. So I feel that also is really important. You need to figure out that you take mentors' inputs, but from like a few mentors. You can't, you should trust your mentors for sure. But if you just take mentorship advice from like one, let's say you're a product manager and you take all your mentorship advices from a fintech PM. Now, the way fintech PM listens to users and the way, let's say, food companies listen to users is very different, right? So you need to figure that out as well. So after that, I spoke to a lot of Gen Z mentors on LinkedIn, like, hey, this is what I feel, this is what I do. And I feel they also hit me under it that, wait, consultancy is not for you. You are not made for 9 to 5. You look like a person who's not made for 9 to 5. Get into product. So, though when I took the consultancy advice, I got a job at Deloitte. I did not take it up. Like I signed it, later I quit it. But I took the LinkedIn mentors advice. So a few mentors were very keen on me getting into product. They advised me that like just explore it, take an internship, and you need to also see this was a lockdown phase. Getting product internships was, I would say, easier than what it has become now. Um, but I think back then there was less awareness among people about product management, product internships. This is exactly 2 years ago. I feel my age group also didn't know a lot about it, so I got in like slightly easier. But also I was a part of the product folks community, which was definitely how I got my first job, Frontrow. So I feel mentors, community, being interactive in your circle of product managers played a huge role in me getting into product. But it hasn't stopped. Like today, also, like literally last week, I was stuck somewhere. I sent a lot of my mentors a message that this is happening. Please advise, let me know. And mentors would eventually not reach you on the same day. They genuinely senior product managers, but they do reach out in 2 3 days, and the advices that they send is something I genuinely look at like 7 days later, 10 days later. I open chats and like scroll and say, "Oh, he had said this." So these things are very important, and a lot of times when my juniors ask me stuff, I end up forwarding things. I'm like, this question I have asked exactly a year ago. I have the message and I'm going to forward it to you. So definitely, I feel mentorships are a key part, but you need to be sure of putting a good, uh, let's say, buffet of mentors before you get.
Yeah, makes sense. I think the advice makes sense, and I think I also agree with the part that you need to understand your playground. You need to understand yourself and what exactly is the right advice for you. Because mentorship definitely plays a part, but at the end, it's your life, it's your decision, and you have to take in account like how you are, how do you really want your life to be, and also, there are a thousand pieces when you're taking advice for any other thing, and it makes sense for sure. I think I really want to go forward and I really want to ask. So, how exactly when you decided like, yeah, well, like product is something that you really want to do, how did front row happen? Like, yeah.
So the product folks community that I was a part of, I was actually a part of an interview like this with one of the front row interns,
Hmm.
and she spoke about her internship experience at front row. I was like, this sounds very nice, and whatever this is, I want. So I just pinged her and asked her, how did you get the front row internship? And she's like, in the product folks community, there's this one guy called Abhay Jani. He helped me get it. I was like, cool. I texted Abhay that, hey Abhay, this is me, and like I want to get into product and I want an internship at Frontrow. He's like, cool. He connected me to the product manager at Frontrow. She called me up. We had one interview. Then I had one task phase. Of course, I did a task phase at product school. Um, Put product school on, did the task phase. It's fine. And then I submitted it, and she liked it. And we started internship in like 2 days after that. And then
Super.
I was an intern for 6 months, and I was a APM for 6 months, and I was a PM for 3 months. So it was such.
Yeah, super interesting. Journey was obviously exponentially improving, and that's the important part here. Uh, Super awesome. I think then you kind of changed your part to Blue Learn. Was there any decision like what were you like? Why did you change from Front Row to Blue Learn? What was the thinking?
This was a part of like the hard times that are happening right now that everyone's facing. So front row was at a point where they decided that we're gonna make a micro pivot, and the number of employees that we have right now, we don't need them anymore or require them anymore, and we would be laying off a certain percentage of employees. And with the layoffs, there was a big chunk, and I was one part of them. But happily, or a blessing in disguise, I feel in like 48 hours, I had signed my offer with Blue Learn and joined them as a product manager. But again, I feel this was my network. Like I spoke about how networking is important, but again, I feel I knew Harish just via network, and I texted him that, hey, I'm available, and he was like, this is perfect. And I had interned at Blue Learn 1.5 year ago, not even 1.5, yeah, 1.5 year ago, for a month. And while I was leaving, I was interning as a data analyst. And while I was leaving, I told them that, you know what, I don't think I know enough product analysis and product management to stay at Blue Learn today. And that's why I'm leaving. But I really always connected with the product. I connected with the problem we were solving at Blue Learn. So for me, after front row, it was a very direct call to Harish that, you know what, I want to solve that problem again. I am available, and I'm way more aware of how to solve it now. Like I've done an ISB course, I worked at front row and gained the experience, and spoke had amazing mentors at front row who advised me on how to go about it. So now maybe it's time to join back and start at it. Um, and that's what I did. And definitely, I do get stuck here, and I go back to my front row product managers and like call them. And now they're at different companies, so they have more insights to give about how front row was, how their current company is. So definitely, that was the reason why I shifted. Would I have shifted otherwise? Maybe not immediately. Maybe way later.
Makes sense. And I think it's an amazing journey, and like how you got back to the problem solving of that Blue Learn because you loved it and you always
Yeah.
been, and that's how life plays, and that was really important. And I think
Yeah.
that's also a learning phase. That's a challenge that you picked up, that you want to solve that problem that you really love, and it
Um,
makes a lot of
the
sense.
challenge that I picked up is as a product manager, right? There are two stages of product: pre PMF and post PMF. At Frontrow, we were post PMF, very different. At Blue Learn, we are pre PMF, very different. And I've always, as a product manager, right? Like when you do post PMF, you get very curious about how pre PMF is gonna look like. So I was like, I want to try that out. So that was also one reason why I did it. The pre PMF part is way more exciting, way more uncertain, way more unsatisfactory for a while. I would like be very honest, be very candid over this conversation. The pre PMF stage for a product manager or a product designer or anyone in the company is very unsatisfactory, very uncertain, and but at the same time very cool. Like you would be literally saying that tomorrow I wanna do a parade all over Bangalore talking about Blue Learn, and that idea could be picked up.
Yeah.
so, so it's as vague as that and as exciting as that. So it's definitely way more exciting. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time, but like good challenging, where not challenging that you're losing, but challenging that you're always thinking and you're on your toes, and your curiosity will always exist because that unsatisfactory part would always be there.
And I
So
think
it's really cool.
it's a spontaneous process, and I think that's the challenge it took up. Like being again getting into that hustling zone, and like it's a spontaneous process, picking up this challenge and like doing this thing. It makes a lot of sense. Let's just get a little deep, not deep. I will say, I just really want to ask, how do you really, as a PM, what is your like? How's you dealing with like product designers, engineers? How that flow goes?
Um, at front row and at blue line, it's very different, and I think it differs company to company, and it differs product manager to product manager. But if I had to talk about uh, how things that help me deal with my product designers and product engineers is definitely the fact that I have done a little bit of design in my past,
Hmm.
and the fact that I have been a web developer for about 6 months, and it definitely brings in more empathy. It definitely brings in more awareness on timelines and what they say, and understand when they mean that it's not easy to shift a design system. It's not easy to change one color at one place, and like things like that. And I feel I have that strength as a product manager. And this does not mean that like today, I don't know about earlier times, but today there are a lot of non-technical product managers out there who are doing crazy. Like the senior product manager, the product lead at Audible, which is a very tech first company, is a non-technical PM. So I'm not saying that you have to be this, but like what helped me was definitely having some engineering background, knowing design, and being curious about both of them equally. So that definitely makes my discussions with my stakeholders very easy. Though I'm not going to say they're always smooth. Let's be honest. Um, but it helps to be friends with them outside work. So I feel definitely a lot of product designers are going to watch this. And today only I read a post about how product managers might like to product designers, product managers might look mean, ruthless. They just want their work done. They just want their tasks completed. They don't care about anything else. But like I feel deep down, product managers do understand as much as they can. But they're trying to keep a line and get the tasks done without putting in their emotions in middle, that oh, I understand you can do it, and like let's not do it. Because if the day for managers start doing this, w- we're always going to miss deadlines as a team altogether. So I feel definitely it's not always good, like always beautiful. There are times when there is clashes, there is we really cannot do this, or there is a lot of convincing required to know why we are prioritizing this task, or with other stakeholders, like because there are a lot of stakeholders who come with requirements, or why we are not going ahead with it, or why there's a deadline that is so tight, and why do we need to work extra hours, because it's a startup. At the end of the day, there are uh, days you overwork yourself and overexert, and I feel those things are definitely there though. But it helps to know that I was an engineer before, so it helps me to get back there. But if you are a product designer or a product manager, you know that these discussions are not always beautiful.
Yeah, and it makes sense. But even like I was having the same conversation with one of my engineers. Like it's,
Yeah,
I know sometimes I can be harsh, but that's the reality of the product right now, and that's the reality of the startup, and we have to be hustling.
yeah,
But for sure, I think this is an important piece that knowing tech really helps. It's while it's not a mandatory thing, but for sure knowing it really helps to understand the pain that they are gonna go through
yeah,
when we are gonna give them the KT and when we are gonna give them the designs, even like product specs and things. So I know that that's the pain. So I think that makes a lot of sense, and that I think your journey has been super awesome, starting from engineering, then doing ISB, Frontrow, now Blue Lawn. It's been an awesome journey. I really ask everyone, and I think that's the next question. So what's like being college pronounced and every piece? I really want to ask what's next? What's next for Ria? Like
yeah.
what's next?
Um, I feel I see myself uh, into product management for a long time. Not forever, maybe not, maybe yes, but I do see myself pursuing product management as a career for the coming time, and definitely upskilling way more, and becoming like the way I say it, and like I've said it a few times, I do want to become one of the best product manager who is user centric. And there are three types of product manager: people who are business centric, growth centric, or design centric. And I genuinely want to become a very user centric product management manager in the future. A few other things that I want to start is college trainers. I want to build it again, build it way bigger and much better now, because I have the financial bandwidth for it also, to spend on my personal projects, and I would really want to get back to it. um, Other than that, there's always a part of me that wants to build my personal brand and wants to give back to the society as a product manager. So want to start mentoring people who want to get into product management. So I think that is the only area that I can add value to today, and not people who are wanting to become APM to PM. I am still myself in that transition, but people who want to become intern to APM, or freshers to becoming product interns, or freshers to becoming APM, is something I can mentor and like be open to. So I want to start this piece as well. But yeah, I feel like these are few things in my list career wise. So that's there.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna like link your LinkedIn below so that
Oh,
anybody who wants to ask questions to Ria
yeah,
about getting
yeah,
to product for sure, like ping her.
yeah,
Uh, we I think let's just so I think next piece is something new. Again, I did not prepare for this. We are just preparing before it, but I just have three pointers. It's just gonna be a fast and furious. Just answer as quick as you can. Okay,
cool. Rapid
so
fire.
yeah, rapid fire, but with just three questions here.
Okay.
But so yeah, let's just start. I think two are product related and one is not. One is
Okay.
more of a generic question. Let's just start with the generic one. What do you consider? What do you feel is the best? Work from home or in office work?
In office
Any
as a product manager for sure. Yeah.
any
Like
reason?
definitely, once a week I like to work from home.
Hmm.
Like once a week work from home is my ideal life. Once a week work from home, work from cafes. But I feel other days I like to work from office. I think it makes collaboration very easy. And I think as a product manager, collaboration and listening to more ideas and listening to insights anywhere that exist really really helps. So I feel being in office, you could be listening insights from the marketing team, the content team, the copywriting team, the community team. You could be very out there and explain your ideas to designers and developers better. The founders are right there to bounce off your ideas and like get quick feedback, and rather than wait for like, oh, I'll hop on a call in 15 minutes. So I feel those small things, especially at a fast-paced startup, I think work from office is better. But definitely considering how everyone wants the remote culture still, even I'm there. I want like once a day work from home.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I think that is the best approach possible.
Yeah.
The second one is, what is the best product you feel out there?
Netflix.
Why?
So I went to uh, a, an event where someone spoke about uh, everyone has their own best product, and a best product has to be something that made your current difficult activity obsolete.
Hmm.
And I feel TV became obsolete. I feel going to movie theaters became obsolete. And for me, these two were like I've done theater a lot for 3 years, in fact, to be precise. And I've made short films. And for me, watching movies, watching shows, watching a lot of TV was a really big part of me as a child. As a child, but now it's hardly. I don't have a TV in this house, and I'm pretty cool with it.
Hmm.
So I
Makes
feel the best product for me is Netflix, because it made like an existing behavior obsolete rather than inculcate new behaviors. Because inculcating new behaviors, that product is going to be awesome. But making an existing behavior obsolete is a challenge.
interesting. It's super interesting take. The last one is Twitter blue or no Twitter blue?
What, what?
Twitter blue or no Twitter blue?
Twitter blue or no Twitter blue? What does
Hmm.
that mean, really?
The service that they launched, the Twitter blue.
Oh, that. No.
No Twitter blue. You like the previous Twitter?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm in the same zone.
I
But
I am not a very strong Twitter, though I have it open right now in one of the tabs. Um,
yeah,
I don't post a lot on Twitter. I just go to Twitter every once a week, twice a week, to just check out what's happening. But I am. That's why actually, when I told about product also and how to learn, I actually missed out a very key point. People learn from books. People read books, and that is one part of the world. I am not a reader.
same.
I am a visual learner. So for me, Twitter is a very reading. I can learn on YouTube. I can learn on Instagram. Uh, I can't consume Twitter.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Twitter is the most text-heavy platform, and I'm in the same zone. Don't worry. I
Yeah.
think
So
yeah, I think we're in the last question, and that's something that I really ask everyone. You said like mentorship was a big part, so I think this question will really push that journey forward. So, what advice can be one piece, can be two piece? What advice would you give any budding designer or any budding person who is seeing this and who wants to get into product? What kind of advice would you give to them?
um, I think one of the key advices I recently received, and which is fresh right now, and I feel for me it was very very clear from the start that I want to do this. Is no, as a product manager, uh, there is no fresh product manager and there's no experienced product manager. Break the myth. Uh, there is nothing like that. Uh, Today, if I join Swiggy, I will be a newbie
Hmm.
because I don't know Swiggy's users well. I don't know Swiggy's product that well today. So I will be a newbie. But today, if I go to Blue Learn, because let's say a 7 years experience PM comes to Blue Learn today, he will be a newbie because
Hmm.
he doesn't know the users and he doesn't know the product. So all I want to say is that the niche that you want to go to, make sure that that product is something you really understand, and not just understand as a bookish level, but really understand as to what is being built, and why is it being built, and also understand the who is it being built for. Uh, just like that. Like today, let's say you decide you want to become product manager at Spotify, and you should be like very sure of as to what is being built and why is it being built and who the users are. And so I feel whatever niche you go to, just know that that company's what and why is clear to you, and that company's who is something you some is people you want to solve for. So an example would be at Frontrow, I was solving for people who were passionate about their extracurricular activities and wanted to pursue them. which is they wanted to pursue music, cricket, stand-up comedy. I loved solving this because I am a passionate person. I understood the what and why, I understood the who. At Blue Learn, we are solving how community aided you can learn, earn, and network. Something I really wish I had back when I was in uni. That a community that wants to learn, earn, and network, and it all happens within the community. That is definitely product led. So I was like, okay, I love this. I understand the what, why, and the who. So definitely, I feel these things as a product manager or even as a product designer, right? If you really, really want to excel at it, or at any point in the company, actually, if you understand these three things, you will be so passionate that you will just work very well.
Amazing. And I think that is a good, really good advice. And I think that's a really good tip that people are going to capture from this podcast. And yeah, Riya, I think it's been a super awesome podcast, super awesome journey. Thanks a lot for coming here.
Same
Uh,
here. Thank you so much, Abhay.
yeah, and thanks a lot for sharing a ton of insights and ton of knowledge. And I think people definitely want to reach out to you to kind of ask thousands of questions. And I hope you can answer them. Super awesome. I think thanks a lot for sharing. Thanks a lot for everyone who has been watching this
Yeah.
for this long. And I think you guys can reach out to Ria, as I said, from the LinkedIn I'm going to provide in the description. And thanks, Ria, for coming in. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye bye. I'll see you guys
Thank
in
you
the
so
next.
much, Abhay, for inviting me. This was really good.
Super awesome, Ria. Bye, guys. See you in the next one.